Hi, I'm Hidden Master Livy Cherbulenko, and in this series I explore the typical mistakes of people rated anywhere between 1000 and 2000. This is the first reaction, no engine analysis, of a chess.com gameplay between 1945 versus 1908. Let's start. Right, so e4, d6, knight f3, white simply continues the development, knight f6, knight c3, defending the pawn and developing the knight, g6, bishop c4, well, d4 would be like more typical. Whenever like you want to occupy the center with both pawns, right, to control the key central squares, and then already you can develop your pieces. But if you can put one pawn in the center, and if you can put two pawns in the center, if your opponent allows you, put two pawns. If not, then at least one pawn in the center you want to have. Let's see, so d4 would have been probably a better move, but let's see, bishop c4, developing the bishop, bishop g7, d3. This is also fine, it's just that it's like less aggressive, right? Whenever you can, like I said, push two pawns in the center, it's more aggressive, you would control more space, but d3 is also okay. Okay, castles, e5, Another idea would have been to play c5, right? This way, so e5 blocks the bishop, right? And c5 wouldn't block the bishop, and then black can play like knight c6, maybe a6, rook b8, b5, with pawn storm on the queen side. The advantage of this would be not to block the bishop on g7, right? The disadvantage of e5 is that it blocks the bishop on g7. That's the disadvantage, right? There's also the plan of like c6, d5 would be another thing, you know, to like attack the bishop and construct like a barrier against this bishop. But let's see e5, because now after e5 this bishop is like pretty strong, right? Whereas if they go like c6, d5, they would have limited the bishop. So that's another downside of e5. And usually when they go c5, they want to attack on the queen side with like a6, b5, b4, right? But when they play e5, it means that they usually want to attack on the king side, eventually with like f5, f4, maybe like move the king away, and like f5, f4, h6, g5, pawn storm on the king side. So black clearly shows his intention to attack us on the king side, which means that white has to prepare his counterplay either on the queen side or in the center. Let's see, bishop g5, pinning the knight. All right, h6, bishop e3. I mean, it's not very stable on e3, right? Because of like knight g4, I mean, like moving the king away, with like f5, f5, f4. So this might actually help black. Maybe bishop h4 would have been interesting, still keeping the pin, right? Yeah, bishop h4 might have been interesting to make things a bit more difficult for black, you know, to unpin. Yeah. Let's see, bishop e3, knight g4, like I said, bishop d2, all right. King h7, exactly like I said, right? Now black is ready to play f5, f4, and then like g5 and pawn storm. Let's see, knight d5. Yeah, I don't really like the way white's playing here. Black can just play like c6, right, and attack the knight. I think, so knowing that black wants to play f5, maybe white should have played h3 to force black to play knight f6, and now they cannot play f5, right? Then they have to waste another tempo, move a knight somewhere back, you know, which is not ideal, and then play f5, so, you know, we would at least postpone f5, plus make him make another move with a knight, right? Move a knight twice, plus move it back. So I think this is better than playing like knight d5. And I don't see the point. The knight on d5 is not stable anyway. Now black can either play c6 or just f5, right? Straight up, or first c6 and then f5. Yeah. So I think h3 would have been a better move. But let's see, f5 immediately. Yeah, that's fine. Another option would have been to play c6, knight e3, and then take and then f5. Although here maybe it might be a good idea for white to play fe, because if bishop e3, then black just goes like f5 and like f4, g5, g4, pawn storm, and yeah, looks pretty good for black. Whereas fe, I think this makes more sense for white, because now we also open up our rook, right? So now already black doesn't have this like f5, f4, right, idea, because of pawn on e3. You know, so like we can either not even take on f5, right? And when we play f4, just take ef, or either way, like we have this f file and the pawn on e3, so it's not the same. It's just not the same. So maybe fe is good for white, and And next we could maybe like remaneuver our queen to like g3, put our queen on g3, and then maybe play like rook f2, rook h2, f1 with pressure on the f file. There's also potentially ideas like maybe like h4, h5, damaging black's kingside pawn structure. And if black tries to stop h4 with h5, we can play like a knight g5 check, you know, and then attack the king, attack f7. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, maybe f5 yeah is more precise than c6. Let's see. All right, h3, h3. Yeah, all right. h3, knight f6, knight h2, huh? I guess white is preparing f4, but I mean black can just play f4 himself. So yeah, it looks a bit passive. Not so sure about that. Although not so easy to find like a better move, you know. All right, let's see. Knight h2 takes, bishop takes, c6 here, queen f6. Well, I think this is a mistake. Black should have played f4, and then like g5, maybe bring the knight to f6, right? I'm going to support h5, g4, and black has clear advantage here, you know. White needs to quickly create some counterplay in the center with like c3, d4, or bishop c3, d4. Although bishop c3, maybe black can play like c5, maybe like c3, d4, something like that, right? White needs to create quick counterplay. But yeah, f4 was mandatory to create this pawn storm. Otherwise, white can just play f4 himself. You know, let's see. f4, yeah, white played f4 himself, makes sense. ef, all right. Rook f4. There's also bishop f4. There's also bishop c3 first, attacking the queen. All right, let's see. Rook f4, queen takes b2, black takes f1. I don't know how important this pawn is. I think like it's more important to focus on the king side. So I don't think it's like such a huge deal that black took this pawn. But let's see. Yeah, wait, what? Doesn't white just hang the queen, the rook? I mean, white should play rook b1, obviously, right? Attack the queen. Queen moves somewhere, and then maybe like ef, or already it depends on the situation. But yeah, rook b1 was mandatory. Let's see, ef, huge blunder. Rook f5. Wait, what about queen a1? Let's say check, you know. Although, wait, let's see. Maybe there's something here. Because king h8 versus rook f8, right? Deflecting the bishop and then queen takes a1, game over. But doesn't black have king g6 is the question. Doesn't black have queen g6? King g6, I mean. Wait a bit. We just take rook f8. Yeah, and white was probably just winning here. Yeah, we got back the rook, the material. Oh, okay, I see. So yeah, this is the point. All right, just king g6 takes, and then rook takes f8. Yeah, makes sense. All right. So then rook f5, I guess, is a good move then. All right, knight take. Wait, knight g. Well, now already queen a1 should work. So again, I think white should have played rook b1, right? Attack the queen, and then already all the stuff with like knight g4. So I think here this should be already a huge blunder, right? Rook f4, bishop f4, queen a1. Yeah, I mean, black is just up a rook. Yeah, black is completely winning. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this game, and I'll see you in the next video.